For those of you who don't know by this point, I'm a pretty big fan of the anime One Piece. I've enjoyed it for quite a long time, and while I do acknowledge it has flaws, and plenty of them, I stand by that it's one of my favorites. I reference it quite frequently when doing my Raven's Writing Room, and I sometimes go to it for inspiration when doing my storytelling because it has some very fantastic characterization and writing strategies. I would stand by that One Piece is some of the best character writing that I've seen in fiction. Now, one of my favorite characters in One Piece is the pirate empress Boa Hancock, and without wasting too much time going into the whole One Piece story, let's briefly explain this character. Hancock is a powerful female pirate who rules an Amazoness island called Amazon Lily, an all-female island where strength is what defines beauty. Hancock ate a devil fruit called the Love fruit, a magical fruit that made Hancock the most physically gorgeous and sexy woman in the world, making any living creature fall head over heels in love with her. As a bonus, she can turn those who lust for her into stone with her powers. She was so powerful and so formidable that the military of the One Piece world, the Marines, made her one of the 7 warlords of the sea, a select group of pirates who the government will allow to go about their business in exchange for eliminating pirates they encounter and occasionally assisting the world government in its more dire circumstances. This status allows Hancock to keep her island safe from the military and gives her privileges to do as she pleases and keep the military away. Her whole life changes, though, when the protagonist, Monkey D. Luffy, arrives on Amazon Lily by chance. As a hater of all men, Hancock attempts to kill Luffy for his insolence, but finds that Luffy is the only man who is immune to her beauty, because the boy has not a lustful bone in his body. When she learns that Luffy not only is immune to her power, but also that he has a righteous and selfless personality, and he was brave enough to assault a celestial dragon, one of the many world nobles that once enslaved her and her sisters, she falls head over heels in love with Luffy, willing to do anything for him, though he humorously never returns her advances or even understand them. She's a powerful but hilarious character, very fitting for One Piece. She's not that complicated to understand, even with just a basic explanation like that. But for this writer with CBR, yes, we are talking about CBR, it was only a matter of time, apparently he just can't wrap his mind around that. How very unfortunate. This is a top 10 list about why Boa Hancock doesn't make sense, or at least the top 10 reasons she doesn't make sense. I read this expecting to find some interesting points about her character or writing inconsistencies, but instead I found a journalist who doesn't have enough journalistic integrity to fact-check his own points. Tries to paint Oda as being perverse, and seems to have trouble understanding Boa Hancock because she doesn't fit into a feminist lens. But we'll get into that. If you're not a fan of One Piece, feel free to skip this video. I won't blame you. I don't mind. It's fine. But if you just want to see me take apart this article, stick around. I'd be happy to have you along. After all, this is my channel, and as many have pointed out, you like to watch me just post material, so we'll see how y'all enjoy this one. So let's do it. Let's dive right into the top 10 things about Boa Hancock that just don't make sense from a CBR writer.
One Piece, 10 things about Boa Hancock that make no sense. Aside from Nami and Robin, Boa Hancock is one of One Piece's most recognizable female characters, but there are things about her that make no sense. One Piece is a series widely regarded for its diverse cast of characters, whether that includes funky cyborgs, stoic men in baby outfits, talking reindeer, or whatever that nose ramen guy was. However, if there was ever a list of characters that creator Ichiro Oda could do a better job of designing, it would be female characters. One Piece had, at one point, been a series well regarded for its large cast of female characters that weren't consistently sexualized by the anime or manga. That all changed as the series went on and after Oda got married. By his own admission, he got more perverted after his marriage and has since dwindled his female character designs to just 2 circles and an X. Arguably, however, Oda has found a middle ground with one fan favorite in particular, the pirate empress and ruler of Amazon Lily, Boa Hancock. Seemingly able to juggle both fan service and genuine shonen credibility, Boa has been at the forefront of the series' coolest female characters. However, no character is ever perfect, and Boa in particular has a few glaring issues. As such, this list will be running down 10 things about her that do a little more than disappoint. They just don't make sense.
Oh boy, I can't wait.
Number 10. Character design. As stated above, Oda has struggled for the last few years with the anatomical accuracy of his female character designs. Boa Hancock, more so than most female characters, should not be able to stand. She's a twig carrying 2 large boulders, and it is a miracle that she doesn't have a broken back. And while the series isn't exactly known for realism, it always seems like female characters don't get their fair share of diverse character designs. Boa Hancock in particular can almost be mistakenly confused with post-time skip Nico Robin, as well as a variety of female characters in Wano, which is strange considering that her moniker is being the most beautiful woman in the world. Boa's character design, more than anything, is mostly hype and an exaggeration of other female characters.
Did you really just say that One Piece doesn't have diverse female character designs? That they all look the same? Have you seen Amazon Lily? They have female designs out the ass. Have you not seen Big Mom? Alvita? Lola? Carrot? Those are just ones off the top of my head, you know. I could actually do some more research and get back to you. But let's go with that for just a second. Yes, many manga artists tend to have patterns in repetitive character structure designs. Like, let's take a look at JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and count the men that are all built the same. How about we go to Naruto and compare all the female figures there? Most are quite identical. In fact, there's a joke that all you have to do is have the same body style for Naruto characters and just change the hair and eye styles and you've got yourself a character. I'd argue One Piece tends to do much better differentiating its females in most cases. But I think the part that makes me laugh the most is you saying it isn't anatomically accurate. Yeah, because Rubberman, a walking skeleton with an afro who can mend broken bones by drinking milk, a walking and talking reindeer who can change forms, giant zombies big enough to crush islands, and cyborgs who use soda for fuel are all totally anatomically correct. No inconsistencies here, right? I mean, she is just totally inconsistent. I challenge you, in fact, to watch Western animated movies and shows. Look up characters like Jessica Rabbit, who is likely a large inspiration for Boa Hancock, and tell me how accurate she looks. Or how about Olive Oil, a literal spaghetti noodle with a meatball on its head that we dare to call Popeye's love interest. Animated shows and movies tend to have this thing where anatomical accuracy is not always the first priority. The first priority is entertainment and characterization. You're trying to say that drawn lines should be anatomically accurate. It's anime, dude. Deal with it.
Number 9. Falling for Luffy. While Boa is the ruler and best fighter on Amazon Lily, her most predominant character trait within the series is her seemingly undying love for Monkey D. Luffy. After having protected her secret and revealing that he once punched a celestial dragon, the class of people who had once tormented her, she quickly falls head over heels for him. This is understandable given Luffy's gestures and what they mean for her in particular, but there's still shallow aspects to get her to fall in love with a guy that she barely knows. If anything, those are the only two things Luffy knows about her. From then on, she is constantly surprised to learn more about his life, whether that means his brother or having female members in his crew, and that's a pretty poor sign for any relationship.
You really don't get her infatuation with Luffy, do you? Boa hates all men because when she was a child, men enslaved her, abused her, and tortured her. But Luffy is the one man she loves because he is immune to her beauty because of her lack of lustful intent. He was also selfless enough to protect her secret without knowing the full story, was willing to give up on his chance to see his friends again to save others, and then she learned Luffy had defied the celestial dragons, her once slavers, and fought against the world for no other reason than righteousness. But the real moment that brought Luffy into her heart was when she asked if Luffy hated her for knowing she was a slave.
そなたは奴隷であったわらわを蔑むか。
何言ってんだおめえ。だから俺天竜人嫌いなんだって。
Boa hates herself. She loathes her own past and believes herself worth less than others because of who she was. She resents her history and does everything she can to hide it. She even confesses to being afraid of her own subjects on Amazon Lily. But when Luffy says he doesn't hate her for it and even shows sympathy for her, she feels love for him. Passion. He's the first man to not only be genuinely kind to her, but also to oppose her oppressors and to show her compassion. This is what makes her love him unconditionally. Now, the joke here is that Luffy doesn't understand love. Though Boa pursues him like a schoolgirl with a crush, Luffy never quite gets it. He never reciprocates her love, but even in his own stupidity, Hancock is convinced that they are meant to be.
Luffy! もしやそなた、わらわがここにいると知って、来てくれたのか？
俺はコーラ買いに来ただけだぞ。
なんと知らずしてこの再会、まさに運命。
It's hilarious watching the most beautiful woman in the One Piece world, a woman who captures the hearts of men and women all over the world, act like a lovesick puppy around a complete doofus. You seem to be saying this doesn't make sense because it's not a healthy relationship, and you'd be right if Luffy wanted to make it a relationship at all. Boa wants to learn about Luffy and make a relationship because she loves him, but Luffy doesn't get this and keeps missing the point of her advances. Though, to be fair, sometimes Hancock gets so caught up in her own fantasies she fails to even follow through on her advances.
こんな時どんな言葉をかけてやれば。ルフィ、案ずるな。まずは兄君をお救いするのが先決じゃ。そなたは仲間を信じておる。そうであろう。
お前。
それに今だってそなたは一人ではないのだぞ。わらわがおるではないか。
ハンコック。俺は大バカ野郎だ。こんな近くに女神がいたのに気づかねえなんて。
ルフィ。
ハンコック。
なんてことをしたりして。
何やってんだ、暗黙。
So do you understand yet? Are you starting to get... No, of course you don't.
Number 8. How she got her devil fruit. On the topic of Boa's backstory, she notes that she got her devil fruit from a celestial dragon who wanted her to use it for their entertainment. While mutating someone against their will does seem cruelly entertaining to an extent, this is still a little confusing for the celestial dragons to do. Don't they know how powerful devil fruits are? Did they not think, at any point, Boa could use her newfound abilities against them? Entertainment is one thing, arrogance is one thing, pure stupidity is what this was.
Do you watch the show? They fed Hancock the devil fruit for entertainment purposes. They were flaunting their power, but do you want to know why she couldn't resist? Well, as the Sabaody Archipelago arc explained and showed, defying a celestial dragon, one of the world nobles, will result in immediate retaliation by the Marines, who will send an admiral and several battleships to punish those who do. If she and her sisters, after gaining devil fruit powers, tried to stand up to their captors, then the admirals would arrive, beat them into submission, or just kill them. Did you seriously not watch the show? In fact, the whole reason Luffy ended up on Amazon Lily in the first place is because he attacked a celestial dragon on Sabaody Archipelago. Admiral Kizaru was called in to deal with Luffy and his crew, and the crew was defeated and were forced to separate and retreat to different islands around the world. It was the most crushing defeat Luffy ever faced because he defied the celestial dragons. Did you watch the show?
Number 7. How her devil fruit works. Going back to Boa's devil fruit, does anyone know how it exactly works? At first, it seems like the victim needs to be looking at her while she does her hand-heart thing to create a beam. However, it is later revealed that she is just able to summon hearts out of nowhere, whether that means her tiny pistol one or the little arrow she can summon. Then, the weirdest part being, she is also able to turn to stone whatever part of the body she kicks. At this point, does anyone even need to look at her? Does she really need to do the heart hand?
Okay, finally, I can actually agree with you on this one a little bit. Boa can turn those who lust after her to stone with her love beam, but she can also kiss her finger or hand and fire heart-shaped projectiles, like blowing a kiss when she can harm others or turn them to stone. Okay, yeah, and she can kick people and objects and turn what she kicks to stone, so it might as well be the Medusa fruit or something, or the stone fruit or something. But then extra credits would be making a video about it, and I'd be responding to that. Whatever. Moving on, I'll give you that one. Point to you.
Number 6. How she managed to sneak Luffy into Impeldown. Continuing the trend of what exactly are the limits of the love fruit, Boa would use this to help Luffy sneak into Impeldown. After sneaking him in through the front entrance by hiding him under her dress, she would soon use her power to evade Luffy being found out during a pat-down, turning the guard to stone and allowing Luffy to escape. However, when she turns the guard back to normal, they seem to have no memory of ever turning to stone, not even to the fact that she did her dramatic hand thing. Did they not see the hand thing? Does her power also erase memories? Come on, Oda.
This was explained on Amazon Lily. When Boa turned 3 women back to normal after making them stone, they were asked if they were okay, but they said they don't remember what happened to them, and the response was... You seriously need to reread the manga, man.
Number 5. Becoming a Warlord. Given Boa's backstory and overall distaste for men, it is truly a wonder that she became a member of the 7 Warlords for a variety of factors. This means that Boa would, at some possible point, have to serve or protect the Celestial Dragons if the Marines found it fit. This would also mean having to work with a predominantly male-oriented organization. Vice Admiral Suru has an all-female crew, but they didn't exactly send her to talk with Boa. And last but not least, while Boa does state that she became a warlord to provide her kingdom some protection, she's left many wondering what exactly she's done. She outright denies their request to join the Paramount War and doesn't appear to be doing any other service. Isn't she jeopardizing her status? Does she actually care?
And you don't understand how the 7 warlords work. Usopp explains it in one sentence. The idea is for the pirates to take out the other pirates. The warlords are incredibly powerful, but not more powerful than Navy admirals, meaning that they are strong enough to destroy most pirate groups with ease. The purpose of the warlords is to maintain a balance of power. The warlords can do as they please without government interference, as long as the warlords continue to help destroy other pirates. But at the end of the day, the warlords do whatever they like. Remember how the warlords were summoned to discuss the next warlord to replace Crocodile? Only 3 showed up, and 2 of which were on a whim. Fleet Admiral Sengoku even acknowledged that 2 was more than he expected to show up. Most of the warlords don't like the government and ignore them when possible, just content to do whatever they want while the government looks the other way. So why did Hancock become a member? Well, as you said, to protect her island and keep the government away from her. You are right, she hates the military and world government, but being a warlord means that they won't always be hounding her or chasing her. How come I have to explain this to you? You seem to have a passing knowledge of One Piece. What's your deal? The warlords have only been called twice canonically.
4. Being the strongest woman on Amazon Lily. Being the ruler and top dog of Amazon Lily means one thing and one thing only. Being the strongest. Amazon Lily is not dictated by preconceived notions of beauty, but by pure strength and combat skill. The anime even shows a nice montage where this hulking woman takes down a petite fighter and the Amazon crowd rejoices. However, Boa not only gets to be the strongest fighter, as indicative of her status, she's also somehow still the most beautiful woman in the world. This begs the question, what was all that special about real beauty? It didn't translate directly to the most important character. Looks aren't everything, yet their ruler still has it. What's the message here?
The message, if you want to call it that, is that Amazon Lily's standards of beauty are different from the rest of the world. Boa Hancock is the most powerful woman on the island. Thus, she is the most beautiful by their standards. But in the outside world, she is still the most physically gorgeous, thus the most beautiful by the outside world standards too. There is no message with Amazon Lily. It's a different culture with its own rules. This is a culture who are so innocent, they don't even know what a male penis is. They assumed it was a mushroom, and when Luffy told them about his family jewels, they assumed that they were literal jewels and asked if he could remove them so they could see them. They are not well versed in outside understanding. This isn't some progressive message about strength-defining beauty. It's just a very different society. I'm really trying to understand here. Are you willfully ignorant or just stupid?
Number 3. Staring down on people. In all honesty, this one is a little forgivable given the pure hilarity and quirkiness of it. Boa Hancock is supposedly so smug and self-righteous that when she looks down on people, her gaze all the way around to the point where she stares upward. Classic One Piece personality. This is pretty much just middle school argument logic with Boa going, oh yeah, I can stare down at you this much. What kills the intent, however, is the fact that in addition to being funny and childish, it is also a major opportunity for the series to show her cleavage, making the scenes also blatant fan service.
So, you understand this, but don't like it because it's fan service. So can we admit now that you actually wrote this as a feminist perspective? Your only complaint about this point is that it shows some cleavage. I'm sorry, but if fan service is such a problem for you, don't watch anime. Lord help me if you ever do a top 10 things that don't make sense about Monster Musume. Every point would be, they show their breasts too often. It makes no sense.
Number 2. Her sisters. One Piece has made it a point that biological factors and looks don't necessarily contribute to who can be part of your family. However, themes aside, how does biology work in this series? Not only do her sisters turn out disproportionately larger than her, they also have widely different hair and eye colors. They had these traits long before they got their devil fruit powers, leaving one to believe that they were born this way. At some point, this series is going to say that they were adopted sisters. Otherwise, Oda needs to look up how genetics work.
Your very first sentence contradicts your entire point.
One Piece has made it a point that biological factors and looks don't necessarily contribute to who can be a part of your family.
You are aware, therefore, that Oda is not trying to make definitive genetic similarities when making family members. So why are you even complaining about this? Now, one prevailing theory that I've heard is that the Boa sisters aren't even blood related, but created a sisterly bond with each other since they were 3 slaves together, not unlike how Luffy, Sabo, and Ace formed a brotherly bond. But even if they are blood related, your first sentence contradicts your whole complaint. That's like saying, look, we all know the ocean is filled with water, but why did I have to get wet when I got in it? That makes no sense. Idiot!
Number 1, being forgivable. Oda, how beautiful is Boa Hancock? Really, what does this mean to the series? She has kicked puppies and baby seals. She has turned an entire Vice Admiral crew to stone. During the Paramount War, she clearly colluded with Luffy and attacked specifically Marine soldiers. Smoker even notices this, yet Boa somehow gets away scot-free. Again, are there not women among the Marines? Shouldn't Boa have at least been fined for essentially crippling several soldiers? What about Impeldown? Did anyone not think to relate Luffy's invasion with one particular last-minute visitation? The extent that people forgive her goes beyond beauty or even plot armor. Boa has somehow become invisible to common sense.
Okay, the joke here is that Hancock is so damn beautiful that people will let her get away with anything because they can't get enough of how hot she is. It's kind of this joke that men will do anything for a hot chick, that they will do anything for sexual gratification. It's like, or another example, it's like when a little kid makes a mess in the kitchen and then they say a very cute "sorry" and you suddenly aren't mad anymore. Similar idea here. Hancock can get away with whatever she wants because she's so beautiful, no one wants to punish her. They all love her too much. Yes, she does horrible things. She's turned on the Marines when she was supposed to be their allies. But again, the warlords kind of just do what they want. Hell, we saw Gecko Moria kill a few Marines. We saw Akainu kill Marines who showed signs of fear or cowardice, and he's an admiral. Maybe that point is that the Marines don't really care all that much about collateral as long as they get their way. Hancock has used her beauty to get out of facing punishment and responsibility constantly. That's the point of why Luffy being able to resist her is such a big deal. He actually holds her responsible. He became furious when she turned 3 of her subjects to stone in front of him. That's part of the character. But look, it all comes down to this. We all know the real problem here. You're trying to apply common sense and logic to One Piece, a world that has made it very clear that the lines of logic and common sense are blurred at best and bendable at worst. It's a world where anything can happen. The impossible is quite possible, and the fantastic is quite real. But that's why I love One Piece. It's a strange and wonderful experience and an adventure of the most epic proportions. But believe it or not, though, this isn't this dude's first rodeo with One Piece characters who he claimed doesn't make sense. I believe he also did one on Nami. I might have to return and see what he doesn't get about that One Piece character, too. Maybe that's a future video. But that depends on what y'all think. That does it for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Was this entertaining for you? Do you like One Piece too? If not, did you even watch the video? I don't mind if you walked away from this one. This was a little bit weird, but I really wanted to do it because this article was just... it was awful. Anyway, feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a comment and like if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in my next one. Take care.